Hello, hello. It is Friday morning. Get all this stuff set up. Time for our live stream where we just kind of hang out and just kind of recap some of the things that we talked about during the week. One of the things that we touched on later on in the week is kind of the question: have you ever finished a piece of jewelry, sold it, and thought, you know what, I probably should have charged more for that. Maybe I didn't make any money on it, or I sold it too quickly. I could have made more money. There's there's a lot that goes into jewelry making, and then once you make it and learn how to do it, then it's like, okay, how do I market it? How do I sell it? How do I make sure I'm not overpricing or underpricing? So that's kind of one of the things we talked about on the Thursday video, the last one we did. Before that, we talked about some proper jewelry tool techniques. We talked about filing, actually. I went through the files, a couple of the files that I used and the technique that I used. So we'll kind of recap some of that stuff today. Just talking about some of the things that we discussed this week, and again, we'll have just kind of a live question and answer time where people can ask questions and talk about things that they're struggling with. This is just kind of the Friday kind of end of the week. Let's kind of slow down, get ready for the weekend time, and that's my mentality anyway. I used to have my shop and open on Saturdays as well, and it got to the point where it's like, you know what, I value the time away. I need to create margin in my life as well. So I made a decision earlier this year to just close my shop on Saturdays. So I'm only open Monday through Friday, and it was a healthy thing to do. Helped just again create some margin in my life so that it's not always about work and doing stuff, but creating time in there so that you have time to rest as well, and do some things that you don't normally do because you're working. So yeah, so that's like I say, we're just kind of hanging out today. Earlier this week on the Tuesday video, we talked about filing, and I talked about how the file that I use for doing a lot of the heavy work is called a hand file. And I use a couple of them. I use a number 2 hand file. I use a number 4 hand file. I talk about how I hold the file, why I prefer to hold the file without a handle. Some people use handles, and that's fine, but I like to get my hands as close to the work as possible. So if you haven't checked out that video, check it out. It just goes through a couple of techniques, why I use the files that I use and how I use them. I talked about the 3 things that are important when I'm filing. One of them is the file always cuts on the forward stroke. So as I'm filing, I cut and then I look. I use the light. That's the second thing. You always want to use the light reflection to see what your file is doing. So you intentionally stroke on the file and then look to see what the file did. And then you can move the piece or move the file so that you're working on the area that you want to be working on. So it's positioning your file so that it's doing more efficient work rather than just sitting there and filing and hoping that you're getting something done. So those are the 2 things. And then the last thing is how I hold my file, hand position. You can rotate the file with your fingers. You can put pressure on the front or the back. So it's just kind of a recap. You can watch the video if you want. And then later on in the week, we talked about pricing structure, and I created an Excel spreadsheet to help people figure out some of their pricing. And it's not geared towards the professional jeweler or somebody who's already got a market established and stuff like that. It's more geared towards the beginner to intermediate jeweler who's just starting to learn jewelry and starting to make some really nice looking stuff, and now they need to figure out, okay, how do I put a price on this? I can go out on the internet and look for things that are similar to mine and say, okay, I'll charge that. Or like on my spreadsheet, you can track the materials that go into it, the metal that goes into it, and the labor that goes into it, and give yourself an idea of a starting spot. And of course, whenever I put videos out there, you're always going to get feedback, and I love the feedback. And most people are just like, so this is great, thanks. And then there's always people that come on and say, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you can't do this. And it's like, you know what, that's part of putting stuff out, creating content. You're always going to find the smartest people in the room, and I enjoy that as well. So again, the stuff that I put out there is on our YouTube channel is more geared towards the beginner to intermediate jeweler who might need some tips and some touch up and some guidance. So that's kind of where my focus is. And you know, we can dive deep into the woods and get into the expert stuff, but you know, that's neither here nor there. I don't do much of that just because there's a lot more people who are into the beginner and intermediate jeweler that need help than the experts who already know it all. So so yeah, so that's kind of what we talked about this week, is just kind of doing some filing techniques and just kind of hanging out and doing some pricing stuff. So I'm doing the stream today on instead of a vertical video, I'm doing it on a horizontal video, and for some reason the comments aren't coming through, so we'll just kind of wing it as we go. So yeah, so again, on pricing, just like keeping track of the time you spend on the bench, which for me is sometimes it can be difficult because I'm scatterbrained a lot of times and I've got 100 things going on all the time. So I can sit down and start on a project, and I'll walk up to go get some tea, and then I'll see something over here and I say, oh, I got to go do that. And then while I'm over there, I see, oh, I forgot to do this. And then it's a half hour, 45 minutes before I get to back to the bench and go, oh yeah, that's what I was doing. So it's kind of a little harder to track your time, but you can find ways of doing that. Maybe have a notepad, or if you're more disciplined than I, where you can sit down at a bench and just sit there and focus on doing something. That's good, but just have some way of tracking the time that goes into your piece so that you get an idea of how much energy and labor you're putting into the piece, because that goes into the pricing as well. And then don't forget to add up the things that you do after the piece is finished. Photography, social media, packaging, things like that. That all goes into the price of the piece. And if you don't keep an eye on that and monitor that, that definitely can take away from your bottom line. So you just want to make sure that all of those things that are going into your piece, even the materials, the stones you use, the metal, it's all got to be tracked at some point so that you can make sure that you getting back. Hey, I'm getting comments. Where did I charge too much and get no business? Also, where did I spend a bunch of time? Yeah, that's one of the worries is just figuring out, am I charging too much or am I charging too little? And the more you do it, the more you get comfortable with it. You find your customer base, and you can kind of hone in on that, and then you know what your customers are willing to pay and what they're not. And again, you create a beautiful piece of jewelry, and all it takes is one customer that says, I like that, and they're gonna, pay for it. So how do you get over the fear? That's one of the things we've talked about that on some videos as well, is the fear of creating things, and you know what, it's the more you do it, the more comfortable you get at it, and the better at it you do. So the best thing I do is identify where those fears are coming from. Sometimes they're deep, and sometimes they're pretty, you can identify what's going on. So yeah, and a lot of times the fear of getting over it is all just, again, it's mental stuff. So you just got to kind of identify, where's the fear coming from? What am I afraid of? And then kind of lean into that a little bit, and just don't let fear rob you of your joy. I guess that would be the best way that I could put it. So just do what you enjoy doing, and let the fear worry about itself. Sometimes you just got to figure it out and lean into it. Having a hard time hearing me. Okay, maybe I'll get the video a little bit closer. Hopefully you can hear me now. And I don't have a really strong voice anyway, so I'll just speak a little bit louder, and hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. But yeah, so again, we're just kind of hanging out, and I'm getting ready to start my day. I don't know if you can see in the background, I got my casting unit ready to cast. So when I get done with the video, I'll fire up the casting, and I got a couple of large flasks in there to cast today, and that'll keep me busy for a while. And then the rest of the team will show up, and we'll just kind of hang out and enjoy our Friday. So again, any questions? I can see comments coming up, so that's that's good. They show up and they pop up really quickly, and then they go away. So I gotta address them before they disappear. Got my morning grumble going on. So again, just on. I don't know if I mentioned, but I created an Excel spreadsheet to help you with pricing. And you can enter in some of the material costs, some of the labor. You can even say, okay, I want to be making a certain dollar amount per hour. So you can enter that into the calculation, so that when you get all the calculations in there, it'll kind of give you some guidelines as far as, okay, this is the cost I've got into it. This is a wholesale price, this is a retail price. And you can play around with the numbers, but it just kind of gives you a little bit more of an idea of what to charge. I'm not saying that this is what you need to charge, or if you type in these numbers and this is the price you got to put on it. It just kind of gives you an idea, so that you know that, okay, one, I'm not going to be losing money, and two, it's calculated on a mathematical basis. And then again, you can adjust those numbers however you want. But the spreadsheet is at JewelryMonk.com. So you go to JewelryMonk.com, and on the banner, there's a tab that says training. What do we got here? Stainless charge, yeah. Yeah, so, and again, the materials that you use, you can put in there, so whatever you're paying. Hey, you're not late, you're on it right on time, and you can always go back and watch the rest of it. So again, go to JewelryMonk.com. There's a tab that says training, that'll drop down, and under the drop down, there's another tab that says free helpful stuff, I think. And then that'll open up the page, and then right at the very first spreadsheet is called Jewelry Monk. I forget what it was called. What did I put on there? But you'll see it. It's a pricing spreadsheet. So that hopefully that helps. And again, you can go on there. And then there's a bunch of other spreadsheets and PDFs that you can print out and put on your bench, like saw blade stuff, figuring out what saw blades to use, what sizes matter. There's another spreadsheet on stones, which ones can take heat, which ones can take ultrasonic, which ones can take steam, which ones are harder, softer. So there's neat stuff that you can print out and keep at your bench as well. So it's just things that I've done over the years that have been helpful to me, and I just make them available to everyone else. So as you're there, make sure that you subscribe. Some people said the subscribe button is not working, but if you download the main PDF, it's like 5 soldering tips, that will subscribe you to the website. And then I also come out with an email every week, usually on Tuesday, and just kind of recap what we're doing. Sometimes it's just encouraging stuff that I throw out there just to help people. Sometimes it's fun stories, and sometimes it's videos, and who knows. I just like to keep in touch with the people who like to follow what we're doing here. So make sure that you go download some of that stuff and subscribe there, so that you can keep an eye on what we're doing. And the website is going to be changing here pretty soon. Um, over the time we build a website, and let's see, all the overhead operations should be built into hourly costs or added miscellaneous column. Yeah, you can adjust that spreadsheet however you want. It's just kind of something to start with to give people an idea. So I don't know, I forgot where I was going. So yeah, and again, the spreadsheet is you can adjust it, and I've created it in there so there's areas that are marked green, and those are the ones that you would put in just to on a normal basis, the materials, stones that you're using, the time that you're spending, packaging, chains, ear wire, stuff like that. So just so you can keep an eye and better focus on the materials that you have in there, so that you can keep track of it. And again, you can adjust the spreadsheet so if you want to be making more money or less money or whatever. So, but it's just kind of a guideline to help beginner jewelers who don't really understand what to charge. Kind of gives them some guidelines. So hopefully that helps. And what else we got next week? I'm not sure what we're going to focus on next week, because usually during the week I try to focus on some certain themes. And next week I haven't decided yet, but it'll be a surprise to you as well as to me. But on we'll come out with a video on Tuesday, and then we'll come out with a video on Thursday, and then we'll have our live stream here again on Friday, 8 a.m. my time, which is Mountain Standard Time. So we'll just we'll just kind of play it by ear, and I just wanted to check in, pop in, and see what's going on, and there's not a lot going on. We got just a bunch of work in-house that we've got to try and catch up on, and like I said, I got to cast some jewelry here in a little bit. As soon as usually I try to start about 9 o'clock. That's when my team shows up, and then we'll cast some jewelry and get to work on the daily projects. And what's the biggest seller item lately in silver? That's a good question. It depends on who you ask. We have our line of jewelry, which is called Jewelry by Decory, which is DECORY. That's our branded line of jewelry. And our biggest seller right now is, we come up with a line about a year ago, and they look like ancient coins. And each ancient coin has a symbol on it to the Christian faith. And there's videos that go with them that give history of what that symbol means, where it comes from. But those are kind of our biggest sellers right now. They look like, ancient coins. It's called our Ancient Faith series. So for us, that's our biggest seller that keeps us busy. And consider walking us through a project so we can practice our skills. Maybe we could choose our own. Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe I'll pick a project, and we'll just kind of walk through the whole process, and then I'll just make a video on it. We've done some of those before. If you go to our YouTube page here, and there's a number of projects where we've done start to finish. And then also, when I started the training center a number of years ago, what we did was we had a design contest. So I picked out some stones, or picked out a series of stones, and there was like a dozen of them. Gave you what the stone was, showed you pictures of it, gave you the size, and I said, come up with a design. And we're going to go through all the designs that come in. We're going to pick one design, and we're going to take that design on paper and turn it into a finished piece of jewelry. Not only that, but a finished piece of producible jewelry. So model and a mold so that you can go into production with that piece. So we did that, and then we took a video of the whole process, and then we packaged that and we sell that video. So I think the first one is probably 8 hours of content, and it just shows every step along the way. and then so the first one was metal fabricating, casting, stone setting. The second one was, or no, the first one was wax carving, casting. The second one was all metal fabrication, and we had a lot of fun. So we got a couple of video series that kind of captured that whole thing, and we have them for sale on our website under I think it's under that training tab as well. So and then we come up with, was it last year, we come up with a video series just on polishing, different processes of polishing, the tools you use, how you use them, and things like that. And I think there's probably 4 hours of content just in the polishing videos as well. And again, those are all available for sale on our website. And a lot of the YouTube videos that we're doing lately, we put a link in the description as well. So it kind of gives people another option of trainings, because you can get so much out of YouTube videos, but a lot of times YouTube videos will edit out a lot of this stuff on the inside. So they just show you what they want you to see. They don't show you the all of the ins and outs. So I created a video that we just turn the camera on and walk you through every single thing. So that and it works out well. So yeah. So hopefully soon we're actually creating a JewelryMonk app, so that all of that stuff will be available on the app, and a lot of the spreadsheets and stuff will be on the app as well. So it'll be a little bit more user friendly than going to websites and clicking links to go to other websites and things like that. So hopefully the app will be able to, you can pull it up on your phone and access everything there. So as soon as I get a little bit more time and figure out how to finish that up, I've got about half of it done right now. So I just need time. That's all I need is time. So if you guys could send me some time, Doug@jewelrymonk.com. So that would be nice. That would be real nice. So yeah. So other than that, I think I'll get out of here. It's always nice hanging out and just kind of recapping. Fridays are just kind of a fun day where we just kind of jump on, touch base with a lot of the people who follow us here, and just recap some of the things we did and talk about what we're going to try and do next week. So again, thanks for hanging out. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, because again, we're doing 3 videos a week right now. So and we're having a lot of fun doing it. So I plan to continue it for a while. We got some really exciting stuff and some news coming up here pretty soon about what's going on here at the training center. So yeah, so stay tuned and follow the website as well, because we throw some stuff on there from time to time that doesn't make it to the YouTube channel. So have a great weekend, and we will see you later. Go out there and make something shiny. Okay, take care, and we will chat at you next week.